4 glowing orb UFOs were recorded over Cincinnati, Ohio.
What is that? Yeah, what is going on? Yeah, that is bizarre, dude. Like, what's going on, man? Like, there's one circling. You see that one circling over there? And then they go away.
It almost looked like how they had like the small lights on it.
Yeah, like what is happening?
But yeah, look at it turn on behind there.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how they're circling so close.
Yeah, what is going on there?
Whatever's trailing behind them just disappears.
Yeah, and then it's gone.
That's bizarre. That's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that in my whole life.
What the heck is that, man?
Wow.
Some dismiss the occurrence as skydivers with flares on, which the orbs are reminiscent of in some ways. But since we don't see any dissension at all, the explanation is unlikely. A UFO is said to be imitating a star in this clip recorded over Tennessee. The video was recorded on a night camera just after midnight.
Thing just floating around out here, man. That's crazy.
The uploader describes what we are seeing here as vessels passing through his house. One also appears to phase through the wall with zero resistance. What looks to be a spherical-shaped UFO flying at a consistent speed in a perfectly straight line over a volcano. This is an image from NASA's own website. You can see what looks to be a line of sphere UFOs above Earth's atmosphere. Link available in the description.
Top of the screen, there it goes, and then the camera will slew to follow it. You'll see it pop in and out of the field of view there. This is essentially all of the data we have associated with this event from some years ago.
This footage was captured by military personnel during a high-altitude jump. You can see a white orb come into frame in the bottom left-hand corner. The jumper later explained that, upon seeing the object, he initially thought he'd lost his reserve chute, or that a piece of the plane had broken off. After landing, another jumper immediately approached him and confirmed he'd seen the object as well and assured him it hadn't come off the plane or any of the other jumpers. The video shows a sphere UFO recorded from a U.S. Navy fighter jet. Although brief, the few frames that show the object are quite clear, and the fact that it was filmed and analyzed by a team of aviation experts gives it a much deeper level of credibility.
Mr. Brett, can you rerun that first image? It looked like it was outside of a plane window. And if you wouldn't mind going up to the screen and tell us what we're seeing. Explain what we should be looking at in that first image.
Absolutely. What you see here is aircraft that is operating in a U.S. Navy training range that has observed spherical object in that area. And as they fly by it, they take a video. You see it looks reflective in this video, somewhat reflective, and it quickly passes by the cockpit of the aircraft.
The ODNI reported 144 UAPs between 2004 and 2021, 80% of which were recorded on multiple instruments. Last year's report also said that of those 144, 18 of them reportedly appear to exhibit unusual flight characteristics, appear to demonstrate advanced technology, and some of them appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. That's pretty intriguing.
A metallic sphere-like UFO was recorded next to an airport in Florida. In 1974, the Betts family in Jacksonville, Florida found a shiny metal sphere while inspecting damage from a brush fire on their property. At first, they thought it was just a souvenir, but noticed it exhibited a lot of strange behavior. The sphere would roll on its own, seemingly defying gravity, stop and change direction unexpectedly, and make a humming sound whenever a guitar was played around it, as if it was responding to the music. After expert analysis, it was revealed that the sphere was nearly indestructible, perfectly balanced, and displayed behavior that seemed to defy the laws of physics. X-rays also showed smaller spheres sealed within its core, an engineering mystery that left scientists baffled as to how it was possible. Skeptics suggested it was likely just a high-grade industrial ball bearing, and the odd behavior could be explained by uneven flooring, magnetism, or human perception errors. But despite the skepticism, the mystery has never been fully solved to everyone's satisfaction, and the Betts sphere remains a popular UFO curiosity to this day. Now, this footage I quickly dismissed as highly likely to be a drone, so I wasn't even going to include it. But after some surface-level research, I found out that enclosed drones are unable to operate in this way since they need to displace the air underneath them to achieve lift. Simply put, spherical objects shouldn't be able to move like this. At certain points of the clip, the orb can be seen flashing sporadically, almost as if it's surveying the area. Unfortunately, its movements aren't anywhere near as impressive as other accounts we've heard regarding orbs. No 3,000 mile-per-hour right-hand turns here, but a great sighting nonetheless. This was recorded in Wales by a police helicopter back in 2016. The police helicopter crew stated that the object was only visible in infrared. They also described the object as hot, and it was traveling against the wind. The footage you are seeing here is said to have been recorded from a U.S. Gray Eagle drone. It is supposedly of the MH370 passenger airliner that went missing over the South China Sea back in 2014. The video shows what looks to be 3 spherical UFOs rotating around the aircraft before all 4 are teleported away. Appearing too good to be true, my first impressions were that it's CG, but after some digging, finding other videos, and reading through some quite compelling write-ups, my opinion has shifted. Additional footage, supposedly of the same encounter, was recorded from the NROL 22 intelligence satellite. Watch as the exact same sequence of events happens again, but from a different angle. It must be added that this footage has a dubious source, and we have no way of telling if this came from the actual satellite. But what we can do is analyze, and from what we have found out, the credibility it loses through its source, it gains back through the complexity of the video. As numerous CGI experts have put it, if it is a fake, it's a very well-made one. They go on to explain in some finer detail the considerable amount of effort it would have taken to fabricate a hoax of this quality. In the thermal footage, watch closely as the plane goes past the drone. It experiences turbulence. This adds a whole new level of attention to detail for the hoax theory. Would someone that's creating fake footage really go to this degree of realism that hardly anybody is going to notice? A full flight path of the UFOs was mapped by a Twitter user, and according to them, the objects completed a full sphere around the plane just before it disappears. By going through frame analysis and applying a method called stacking, Reddit user Grim Ziegfeld shows that it looks as if all the objects are pulled backwards once the portal has been created. In an International Business Times report from 2014, a Malaysian Air Force chief said that military radar detected a UFO in an area in the North Malacca Strait an hour before the plane had vanished. Here he is in an interview talking about the incident. What he refers to as a blob is an unidentified dot on their radar.
I'm not saying this is MH370, okay? It is. We are still corroborating this. We are still working with the experts.
So what are you saying it was?
Sorry?
You don't know what it was?
No.
So what do you see on?
It's a plot. It's a plot. Unidentified plot. June 95.
He then goes on to talk about the plane making a turn back, similar to the maneuver we see the aircraft pull in the video.
To solve the recording on the radar that we have, and we realized that there is a possibility the aircraft did make a turn back.
Now, for me and many others, moments throughout the videos just look like CGI. They just don't look real. But sometimes this does tend to be the case when seeing something extraordinary. Take this SpaceX video for instance. Everything you are seeing here is real, but still looks computer-generated. It seems that when we are watching a video that looks to be breaking the rules of what we know to be possible, our brains tend to dismiss it as CGI, even when it's not. As the plane disappears into the flash, pay attention to the surrounding clouds. The flash illuminates them so convincingly and with such realism, people with 10 years of VFX experience can't see any signs of fakery. Finally, here's the full footage of both clips, stabilized start to finish. There are some debunking videos out there that do hold weight. Some of the evidence they show regarding the portal being CGI is pretty compelling, but they fail to answer a lot of other questions people have about the footage. The debate is still raging on, and unfortunately, I doubt we will ever get a clear answer on what actually happened to the aircraft. A metallic sphere UFO was caught on video over Iraq. The case received a huge amount of attention back in 2023 when it was leaked by the US military as the first UFO to be recorded over a conflict zone. A video that went viral at the end of the year featured an alleged orb captured at Manchester Airport. If real, The post provides some of the clearest UFO photos ever taken. However, it's worth noting the suspicious absence of video showing the object either taking off or landing. The video seems pretty solid, but the most compelling part are the stills of it on the ground, and there is no video of the object at this point, and obviously images are much more susceptible to manipulation. Shortly after, the witness deleted their post and has not been seen online since. This was all only uploaded just over a month ago, so it's still early days. More information and evidence could be provided. A witness outside Atlantic City reported a strange and unexplained event involving a glowing orb in the sky and the scrambling of 4 F-16 fighter jets from a nearby squadron. The witness, a former Air Force veteran with extensive knowledge of planes and drones, described the object as an extremely bright orb hovering approximately 25,000 feet in the sky. San Diego, 2019. The U.S. Navy caught what appears to be a sphere-like object flying above the ocean before briefly entering the water.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
What was splashed? Splashed. Mark bearing and range.
What the?
With the understandably frantic and rushed recording job done here, it's easy to miss what was truly impressive about this footage. But what was almost hidden at first is clearly exposed thanks to some great tracking done by QSEC. Look close at the right-hand side of the most predominant UFO. 5 less obvious objects can be seen in alignment. They are then seen through the trees and right up until the end of the clip, where they appear to form a V shape right before flying off. CGI is a possibility here, but OP gives his opinion on why he thinks it's unlikely. Quote, "I think CGI can be most likely ruled out here, since several of the UAPs are barely visible through the trees. This is very hard to achieve unless you have the trees as a static front layer. Since the trees are moving and are correctly following camera parallax, the only other option is for manual editing, which is quite hard and doesn't seem to be the case here. The recording job is also not amazing. The camera is spun around and it's hard to tell what to focus on. With most CGI work, subtlety is rare. You usually see everything the creator wanted you to see on the first viewing, with little to no obstructions. This footage, however, is quite the opposite. The profile that posted this footage also seems to be a legit personal account who sporadically posts videos of his dogs every few months. It doesn't really make much sense as to why he would randomly create high-quality CGI footage just to leave on a profile he barely pays attention to. Just to reiterate, this doesn't mean the clip is 100% legit, just that these reasons help add to it being authentic. Some great footage has been captured of a silver orb UFO hovering over South Downs National Park in southern England. The witness managed to record the object using both an iPhone and a professional camera. The iPhone footage really helps us to see that even though smartphones are great in most situations, when it comes to shooting objects as far away and as unpredictable as UFOs, smartphone cameras just aren't cut out for the job. We are still waiting for the witness to post the raw footage, which will help us to confirm whether or not this is real. You can find the full clip of the sighting in the description. This footage was apparently recorded over Wales in the UK. Strangely enough, it was recorded close to the area where the police helicopter caught the sphere UFO earlier on in the video. And similar to the object seen earlier, if you look closely, you can kind of make out an object inside of the sphere. Now, sightings from this point onwards are, in my opinion, the most impressive here. But they are also the ones I am most skeptical of. My feelings vary from each one, and I'll explain my doubts as we go. But as always, you be the judge. This next sighting was seen by millions back in 2011 and made mainstream news across the world. It became known as the Dome of the Rock UFO. The footage shows a bright orb of light descend and stop over an Islamic holy site. After hovering briefly, there's a bright flash and it shoots into the sky at supersonic speeds. The original clip was incredibly compelling and had a lot of people convinced, but what came after kind of tarnished what could have been one of the most impressive sightings ever caught. A flood of similar videos, about 6 in total, all surfaced soon after, and all claimed to show the same event from different angles. Some, while not as convincing as the first, are at least worth deliberation, whilst the others are clearly fakes, some of which show a static image of the city with a CGI UFO inserted over the top. Despite these hoaxes, the original video is still hotly debated, and many people continue to believe that whatever was captured that night was the real deal. Now here's some amazing footage of what some have said is a sphere UFO refueling at the sun. Regardless of it being a UFO or not, the footage is incredible, and to the best of my knowledge is still unexplained. In my opinion, it's probably just an atmospheric anomaly, but I obviously much prefer the sphere explanation.
Whoa. No way. Holy.
With around 1 million views, this footage was very popular last year. Some skeptics argue that what we're witnessing could simply be a balloon being tossed around by strong winds. And given the erratic, seemingly random movement, I can kind of see why. I attempted to find infrared footage of a balloon for comparison, but was unsuccessful. However, I did come across a video of a balloon that's not in infrared, displaying similar movements. Although, according to the uploader, the object was not visible to the naked eye and could only be detected in the invisible spectrums. If this is accurate, it casts doubt on the balloon explanation. Next, we have a relatively famous sighting, and if you regularly watch UFO videos, you've probably already come across it. It's of what looks to be a metal orb UFO, floating over the top of San Diego. Now, I have covered this sighting before in previous compilations and have always believed the case to be legit. But stabilized footage I have recently come across reveals a lot about the object you don't see in the original. I now believe this object to be a balloon, and I'll show you why. The stabilized footage shows that the object looks to be tethered, and at some points of the video, you can see it bobbing up and down in a typical balloon-like motion. More of a balloon shape is noticeable, and when zoomed in you can also see what kind of looks like the knot at the bottom. The original footage manages to hide a lot of these details. It's certainly an interesting video, but I'm fairly convinced it's a fake at this point. Now here's an example of what I believe is a largely explainable sighting, but with an unexpected twist. What you're looking at is military footage from 2011 in Afghanistan. To those familiar with military ordnance, the objects appear to be slow-descending flares viewed in thermal imaging. However, the unusual part comes in here. The flares are struck by what looks to be a missile. an apparent direct hit on at least one, possibly two, of the objects. Strangely, the flares remained completely unfazed by the impact, which should have either shredded them or knocked them far off course. Personally, I still believe these are flares, but I understand why this sighting has raised some eyebrows in the UFO community. What you are seeing here are a collection of images that went mega viral back in 2022. Personally, I'm on the fence with these, mainly because the witness never released the raw files, so there's no way to verify if they were faked. But since there is still some uncertainty around the case, I thought it was definitely worth including the sighting. A glowing UFO is seen releasing spheres over Mexico.
Look in the center how the big UFO is spinning and at the same time releasing two rows on it,
Then four little spheres come around and go around the object, like recognizing the mother and going now away. And they come back and they create what we call fleet. Pero the second video,
if this is real, it's some truly remarkable footage. To me, it looks pretty convincing, and on its surface, doesn't show any obvious signs of computer-generated effects or manipulation. The only thing that makes me skeptical is the source, Jaime Maussan. He's a well-known face in the UFO world and has been linked to quite a few hoaxes in the past. That's not to say the footage isn't legit, but it certainly casts some doubt.
Do you like it? Well, this is something, let me tell you, huh? Certainly one of a kind.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the channel and gain access to the extra long version of this video, old compilations, and other fun perks, please check out the Patreon link in the description.